Hi everyone, Tash again. So I'm doing a video on the Erin Condren Life Planner. That's the 2015/2016 18-month planner, just to distinguish that from the later ones, or the current one that you would compare that with. So that's the Erin Condren Planner. You open it up, you've got a vellum page. That is useful, I suppose, or protects the planner if you're going to change the cover, because these are interchangeable. But otherwise it just looks pretty. But they're different again this year, I believe, having a quick look. You've got the annual planner bit that I highlighted back then for reasons placed here, and sorry about the shadow. Got a storm coming in at the moment, so we're losing light quickly, even though it's only 4 p.m. Yay for the end of May, going into June for winter. Next page is just for some love and hugs, incentive stuff that you can write. And then here I've got a study legend. Now I'll just get the video showing that way. So I've got stickers here are from the Reset Girl, I believe. I'll double check. I think I've got some stickers at the back of the book that I'll show in a moment. So I used those at the time to colour code what I wanted to do for my study, as you can see, because I brain in colour. Caveat with Erin Condren, I have only ever had 1 or 2 problems with them, but then again I've only ever ordered things from them 3 times. There's been a lot of complaints in relation to their quality control. That seems to be fairly poor. Often people get things they didn't order, or they come damaged. I think that's also measured with some people. I think they change their mind too many times and don't realise they haven't changed what they've ordered when they think they have, or whatever. But I have experience with Erin Condren. Quality control is not brilliant, so just be aware. Their product's fantastic as long as you get what you ordered and in the condition that you expect it to be in. I'd also say these silver rings, I don't know, titanium or steel or whatever, I would recommend these over the other rings. The metallic ones and the black ones, they're coated and they are known or prone to peeling or chipping or scratching. So if you're fairly rough with your planner like I am, this is the better way to go if the Erin Condren is the way you want to, or the path you want to go down, because there's no coating on these, they just are the metal, so it doesn't matter if they scratch. In relation to the legend, you can see the colour coding that I've done there, and then I've adopted some getting things done and bullet journaling ideas that I've just incorporated in there. And the bottom left here is all the, if I want to have a task that obviously falls within those periods of time that I want to be able to squeeze into my regular diary, that's what I refer to, and that assists me a fair bit when I get around to actually applying that principle. I think I started my excuse me, I think I started my study in August, or at least the end of July, August, but that's what I did for my monthly setup. So L is for lecture and T is for tutorial, and put major stickers in for the major assessments, and some social things in there just to keep aware of any conflict for study. Here is an example of how I set up for my weekly spread. So this is a horizontal setup, and if I zoom in down here, you can see these pages are basically lined up until here, and then you've got a blank box. So I divided this section here into 2 for the study, so for the 2 subjects, as you can see there, and this column here I would leave for any notes of no study or any social things that would conflict or have an impact in relation to my study. So I would just I'll put my phone that way. Like I said, I really hope this shadow is not going to affect it too much. Just how I planned my study. And this was very much a developing thing for me, because it was the first time I was actually organising study at the time. You can see at the top left, I'm talking about OneNote setup. I had a big problem with that, with reliability. It's not stable, so the more data you add or the more memory that you use, the more unstable that it became. So therefore, the closer you get to exams, is when it becomes more unstable, so it would sync old files, wouldn't sync new files properly, or would just go into a loop that it couldn't get out of. And of course, I would use my computer at home. I have a tablet slash laptop that I take to uni that I use in my lectures and my tutorials. So of course I want to be able to update central files that I can access from anywhere, and sometimes I access them on my phone. Although rarely, because of course the screen size and I can't see a lot of the data. So I stopped OneNote and started using Evernote after looking at Carrie Harling's review on Evernote, and I haven't looked back since. I think you can distinguish the difference. OneNote is just simply an application of Microsoft that they just throw in. It looks pretty, but it doesn't have a lot of oomph. Whereas Evernote, you got to pay for licensing, so therefore you're going to get the support for the licensing that you pay for. I get the full package, and I'll go through that in a separate video. So here is another example of my setup for my study. As you can see, I was sick with asthma or a nasty chest infection during that period, so that whole week was an absolute write-off. Moving forward to this year, that's an example of my monthly setup again. Fairly sparse. I feel like this is a little bit underused for the for what I was trying to use it for. Another example of a setup on the week, so therefore I ran out of room, I think, is another problem that I found. So if I would fill out a section fairly quickly, even though I'd only allocate it for the day. At least I'd know that if I filled in that section for that subject, I think that was Torts A, then I wouldn't do anything for my public law or statutory interpretation subject in that column. So that was a helpful thing, but there's a lot of information to put in there, and I was duplicating that from Evernote. So even though I still tried to push through, it started to get very dense, as you can see as an example there. Don't know why I smashed all of that study in those days and not earlier in the week, but anyway, it's a while ago now. And another example of the same, at least with the full page spread, as you can see there, you can really get an idea of what your activity is during the week, at least for study. So if your main focus is in relation to your study, so your daily hours are study as your principal, then this would actually be pretty good. Not a fan of the new study planner from Erin Condren unless you're doing multiple subjects, so maybe 4 or 6 at one time, and you've got constant assessments. That seems to be really good. So if you're in high school, senior high school, that would be a really helpful thing to have. However, I think this type of planner is better if you're doing university or college, I think they call it overseas, if they're doing that kind of, or tertiary kind of study. And then you can adapt this as you want. So I think I've split this into 2, but I reckon you could probably split into, if you're doing 3, you could split 3 evenly if you're using this column as a separate one, or if you split into 4. Sorry, excuse me, it's my cat's having a fight. Quit it, you two. Bloody cats. Sorry, guys. And then, so I suppose you could squeeze them in if you didn't have a lot, but as you can see, trying to squeeze in text on 2 is starting to get a little bit squishy. So I think I've got one more tab to look at. So that's just how I ended up setting up my monthly thing. I put stickers in just to try and be interesting and, I don't know, more procrastinating. In the back of the book, you've got a notes section. Excuse me, I use that as a study planner to do my future subjects, but that's changed a lot. And in any event, that was only to assist me to pick my elective subjects, and the whole degree has changed now that we're getting a letter in a few weeks as to what's happening next year anyway. Then you get stickers at the back of the book. These stickers are no longer current with the new Erin Condren thing. You don't have all of this, that you got this waste at the back of the book. They've got some new sticker set up that actually looks like it's a lot more usable. And I think they give you less stickers to encourage you to spend more money to buy other unique stickers. Then we've got the back of the planner again. I say this is all changed, so I think this is separate now and you've got to stick it to something that you put in here. These are the stickers, the Reset Girl shop on Etsy, and they're really good stickers, really robust. I think Carrie Harling had recommended them, that's where I got them from, and they've got good colour selection. What you get is actually what you see on the computer, and however I use a local place now because international postage is just huge from the US, so I avoid that. It costs me something like up to $20 Australian, or is it $20 US? And I think it's $20 Australian to get stickers posted, which is ridiculous. Whereas I can just pay $2 Australian to get stickers sent from a local group. So, a local seller. So that is the Erin Condren setup in the horizontal. So if you just want a separate planner for studying, this is actually a really good thing. You can turn it around. Why did I pick the wrong page? Actually, I'll try a different setup. If you wanted to sit it up in that stand, you can get an acrylic stand, so you can sit it up on the stand and just refer to whatever day that you're doing to maximise your real estate on your desk. So they are really helpful in that regard. If you like something pretty and you can put lots of stickers on, fantastic. But if you need to incorporate your study with your regular planner, I think this is probably going to be a little bit simplistic for you, and I'll go through those with the other planners in another video. Thanks, guys.